I'm making a video response, I guess, to Zombie Picture Show, I suppose. I mean, he does, nag other people about arguments that don't make much sense to him, and his arguments don't make any sense to me. So anyway, he did a video called Malthusian Antinatalism Made Simple, and he puts in parentheses the need. And so the substance of his argument was the argument I make, why create a need that doesn't need to exist? The only need is in the perception of the people who want. So they're perceiving need as a want, not recognizing a need because it's out there in the world. Like, say, if somebody's being raped, there's a need for me to interfere, to intervene, to resolve a problem. Wherein if I want something, like a candy bar, well, the need comes from me. The candy bar doesn't need me to eat it. I need to go eat the candy bar. So there's a difference there. But anyway, his argument is he just focuses on this need word and the unneeded need. There's no need. The universe doesn't need somebody's children. The world doesn't need somebody's children. The need doesn't exist in the world. It only exists in the perception of the people having the kids. And it's not perceived as a need of the world or any of that stuff. It's just perceived as a want. Well, anyway, so that video is essentially making the Benatar argument in some respects, in the respect that Benatar is basically saying there is no redeeming accomplishment for the existence of life, and there's just this risk that you open the door to, so therefore there's no sense in risking for no reward, no certain reward. And he makes the argument that you can't be deprived of the gain of living, that the non-existent Martians are not in purgatory somewhere bemoaning their non-existence. So there can be no harm to any individual, to no thing, by something not existing. Again, the only harm can be to somebody's ego because they don't get to have a kid or some sort of argument like that. But there's no harm in the world. It's the reaction, the manifestation of the individual psychology. So anyway, so now in that context, so he does a video that basically was talking about this need, pictures of the universe, and then this is his response to a comment by Antakantavad. Martha saw antinatalism as a means to improve the quality of life. That's totally different from the asymmetrical sort. So there's this, the distinction being made here is that some antinatalism is good, because we need to reduce population. So now we're back down to calling people concerned with excess population growth, or somebody would be you'd call zero population growth, or somebody who's more interested in the number of people on Earth, as antinatalist, as if the word even fits anymore. They're not against people having children, they're against people having too many children. So it's under certain circumstances. And Zombie Picture Show's reaction was, that is my position on antinatalism. Well, then why did you use this need argument? What you're saying that when you have fewer human beings on Earth, the need will go away, the problems of life will go away? I don't think they will. The whole asymmetrical part was that Benatar. Anyway, which is erroneous on many levels. Who are you to say? And you won't say erroneous how? Again, what prevention has no value. So if I prevent a bomb going off, I didn't do anything of value because the bomb didn't go off. I can't prove my accomplishment because the negative thing didn't happen, so therefore I didn't prevent it because it didn't happen, when I obviously did prevent it. I mean, some kind of crazy argument like that. Yeah. The main of which is perceptions. Well, I don't even know what that means. The main of which is perceptions. Even before Benatar, Diogenes had a similar inclinations of a disdain for fellow philos. Well, gee, who cares? I just don't see the point of it. You want to go back to the before Christ philosophers now, and like what context did they have to even have a discussion? I mean, they certainly knew probably some sense of human history and some sense of the redundancy of life, but they certainly didn't have nearly as much evidence as we have now regarding what it basically is, a replicating molecule and nothing more, in terms of its origins. So anyway, but it just doesn't, I mean, what's the point of this crap? Why call people who are interested in there's a word for population control, but people who are interested in population control, why are you putting them in the category of anti-natalists? It just doesn't seem like a proper way to describe people and group them. It just isn't. I mean, anti-natalist has to do with the function of replication, the idea of having babies. It's not about having too many babies. It's not anti-natalism plus or minus or anti-natalist under certain circumstances. I mean, this just confuses the subject for no good reason. So I mean, Zombie Picture Show has done videos. He thinks eugenics is a good idea. He thinks that somehow it's practical and realistic. I just find it no chance politically. I mean, no more chance than Efilism in a sense. So if you're gonna go for a long shot, you might as well go for the whole shot, the whole long shot instead of the half measure. Why get people to understand the futility of their of silly ambitions and desires, when you can get them to understand preposterously silly just as easily? I mean, they're all silly. All of them. There's no unsilly ambition that doesn't have something to do with cleaning up a mess that shouldn't exist in the first place. So it's all fail. So anyway, then another video about something meaninglessness, which was, I don't know, I couldn't follow that video at all. Yeah, not enough. Yeah, sorry, just didn't say anything to me. Oh, unfortunately, he's got that star of Sagittarius guy ranting on every video. Alright, so anyway, alright, Anacontavad. So I'll read this little bit. This was the first comment, so I guess these two come later. I think the need to combat boredom is in the same way we need to eat. Okay, no, that's not it. This must be it here. I think people who are bored to a dangerous extent are looking for stimulation. No, that isn't it either. I guess he has more than I thought. One of the glaring omissions from anti-natalist debate is the way that even the most bleak of Efilists glosses over the problem of boredom. I mean, glosses over. Why should it even be relevant? It's psychology. It's like, say, the problem of grief or the problem of stubbing your toe. Yeah, there's lots of problems in life. There's lots of difficulties in life. But boredom? I mean, boredom, in my opinion, is an ignorant man's problem. It's anybody with any kind of intelligence cannot be bored. It's just not possible. And especially now with all of this technology, you can suit your activity to your mood so easily. But even before all this technology, I mean, the game of boredom is over as soon as you know how complex the game you're in is. There's books to read, there's knowledge to obtain. I mean, once you have any kind of hunger for information, boredom really isn't possible. And especially if you have to work and do all this other crap, I mean, you're really just not going to have time for boredom, because you're going to find your recreational time precious, and you're going to try to maximize it. It's a profound existential horror that can lead to insanity and suicide. Well, I just don't get that one at all. Yeah, sorry, no sale. I mean, I'm not saying boredom isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying I just don't know how you could have it chronically, and I don't know how, compared to depression. I mean, compared to the, recognition of all the other negative aspects of existence, boredom. It just isn't. Yeah, it's not on my list. It's literally that bad, but we just seem to let it happen to ourselves without attempting to resolve it. Like I said, I don't think it needs resolution if you have any kind of idea of what. Like I said, the game is really complex that you're involved in. There's always better ways to play it. There's always better ways to try to understand your relationships with other people. You can just spend time internalizing, thinking about that stuff can keep you occupied. And then on top of that, we have all of this other stuff. I mean, there's stuff everywhere. There's just no time for boredom. I mean, I just don't even have even close to any time for boredom. I agree and disagree, which makes people I talk to either confused or have an episode of unprecedented psychosis. But boredom itself is in itself a handled psychosis until I get away from you. Till it gets away from you. On another note, existentialism is a failed philosophy. We know we exist. Why the need to enumerate on this? Why not just be? Why not just be? I love that crap. Life is life. We're back to that crap. And if you get bored, why not rob a bank? Well, that's really stupid. Yeah, why not do anything, have anything happen? I mean, if your alternative to boredom is just making up nonsense, well, that's not much of an alternative. But boredom is resolved by planning. So yeah, plan, think, devise strategies. Then you won't be bored. I think people who are bored to a dangerous extent are looking for stimulation in the wrong places, i.e. the external world, compared to my experiences of the external world, which goes on inside my head. What actually takes place independent of my experience can get awful boring awful fast. So whatever, I guess he entertains himself is what he's saying. Yeah, either way, I don't think it matters. I mean, either you spend time mulling over the stuff you've already absorbed, seeing it in new ways with new angles, or you can spend time being stimulated, by interactions, by other themes that might inspire in you some sort of perspective and thought and inspiration. So what's the problem? Oh yeah, there isn't any. You're just making up bullshit here. That's why I love to travel. Yeah, because you're a whore for something, anything. Because somehow you do need more and more. Stimulation of my psychosis is key. I tend to put me at ease. I've skydived hundreds of times. That doesn't do it for me anymore. That's just interesting. It wouldn't even do it for me the first time. I mean, really, all this trouble, you go up in a plane, blah, 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 blah. Okay, 3.5 minutes, you're on the ground. I mean, really, doesn't it all look the same after about 15 seconds? It's all pretty much samey already. Yeah, ooh, I'm in the wind. Ooh, it's windy. Ooh, the ground's coming. Ooh. Alright, yeah, we've seen pictures of it. Sorry, I don't need that. I'm not even close to needing that. The coolest rush is surfing would be giants and getting caught in a 2-breath hold downs, whatever. Means waves knock you off. You come up for air and there's another wave that drags you further down. Yeah, that's just too cool. Don't panic and you'll be just fine. Except if you're not just fine and you drown, which people do. Don't let yourself get bored. This is tricky. Every time I start to become bored, I go for a drive. It helps. Well, again, I just don't know. I don't know how anyone has any excuse to be bored in the world we live in. There's just so much to do. Just a screwdriver. There's so many things you could start taking screws out of stuff, and yep, I'm not bored anymore. Learn something for a change. I mean, I just can't. Whatever. It's just a silly conversation. But let's finish it. I think we need to combat boredom in the same way we need to eat. We have to deal with it, either internally or externally. Traditionally, the whatever is supposed to have the capacity to just be, while the whatever opposite needs something external. Well, whatever. These are all your little secret code language of bibble babble. This is, of course, a cultural difference, but it's an important one. Doing nothing and not going insane is possible, but we moderns seem to have lost the capacity. So he's back to this, talking about the native people and how they can, sit on a rock and, daydream for an hour, and somehow that's magical. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's just not. Sorry. I mean, all this bullshit about how brains are somehow in need of some sort of something. Now, they're really easy to feed, and we can see it in the culture. Give them any kind of drama, give them anything to voyeur, and they will be entertained. Combating boredom has a side effect. It's also positively fun. Whatever. I guess it depends on what kind of mechanisms you're using to combat your boredom, whether you're attempting to accomplish something, which can mean that it's not really fun. It can be frustrating. If you combat your boredom by deciding to cure cancer, you're probably going to be a little frustrated. Or whatever. Well, with boredom, you actually get to know your own mind, thoughts, contemplations, and all that you wish, but the mind has time for a while winding down at bedtime. 19,000 thoughts a day is exhausting. So much brain needs to contemplate the day's perceptions. Yeah, well, whatever. If you're tired, you go to sleep. You fall asleep. Even if your brain's active, you'll still fade away. I've never had real trouble falling asleep, so it's never been a liability for me. But, if I did, I don't think I'd blame boredom. So anyway, I just find that strange. This is like talking about blisters on the third hand I don't have. I just don't understand why I should care about something that is just so far from anywhere close to a real problem. Yeah, I don't get it. So, enough said. I believe. Yeah. I mean, the fact that this is why we have huge differences in our perspective is that, you can sit there and waste time having a conversation about an issue that I just find totally, there's no way that can be a problem for anybody. A significant problem. I mean, if you're bored, go find something to do. I mean, really. I mean, if you're bored at work, it's sort of a problem because, you have to go to work, and so that sucks. But if you're not at work and you're not somewhere you have to be, like you have to entertain the mother-in-law or something, you're at some party and you don't want to be there, but you have to be there. I just don't get this bored thing. Sorry. So, till next time.